Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Have At It. This is episode 21. My name is Ben Cornett. As you know, last week we did not have an episode. I was out celebrating Cinco de Mayo. That's a lie. Actually, it was my birthday. But yeah, anyway, we're back here this Friday. Tonight, we are going to be discussing the NFL schedule. As you know, the 2023 schedules came out yesterday. We'll put that right there. Let's scroll it. There we go. We're going to talk about mainly the primetime games, the Thursday night games, the Sunday night games, Monday night football. We'll discuss a few other schedules as well, but let's dive right into it. As you know, the schedules have come out for all 32 teams. Um, quite interesting. I think we all know who every team was going to play. The question was, when were they going to play? Which team were they going to play when? It's so you have an idea of who you're going to be playing before the schedule comes out, but you don't know when though. And last night we finally figured out when that was going to happen. So, with that being said, let's get right into it. Why don't we start out with the Thursday night football games here? We're going to post that up there, right there, as you can see. There is the 2023 Thursday night football schedule on Amazon Prime. Also, but on Thanksgiving, they'll have games on CBS, Fox, and NBC. So they won't get all the primetime games here. But yeah, you can see right there. Those are the games. The first one, the first Thursday night game, obviously, will be on NBC, not on Amazon. That's the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions. They will take on the Detroit Lions. That's quite a game. I predicted Philly and Kansas City because Philadelphia was going to go to Kansas City this year, and I was thinking, oh, that's money right there. That's money. Because that was the game that ended the 2022 season last year. So why not have that rematch for 2023? Well, they went a different direction and went with Detroit, which is, I feel, well deserved for the Lions. Shout out to my friend Alex Loosemore, co-host of mine on NFL Edition, big Lions fan. He's got a show called Restoring the War. And good for him and his team. Last year they came off a 9-8 season. Started out slow, but then they ended up getting on a hot streak. Just missed the playoffs, but this year it looks very promising for them. And why not? They were really impressive against Green Bay on the last Sunday night football game. It was the last game of the regular season. So I think, the NFL took that into consideration and said, okay, Detroit, this young, hot team, this on the come up, going up against the defending Super Bowl champions. And why not? It's it'll be tough first test, but hey, we'll find out, with Detroit, how good they are. And same thing with Kansas City, whenever you're receiving those Super Bowl rings, on ring night, first game at home, there could be a lot of pressure on KC. As you know, Kansas City lost their offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. He's now the OC over at Washington. So Andy Reid will be calling the plays this year. I think it's Andy Reid, but they did hire Matt Nagy to come back, former Bears coach. But we'll see how that goes. It's the first game of the year. Pressure, I think, honestly, it's on Kansas City. People say, well, what about Detroit? On the road, first primetime game. But, Detroit, it's not the end of the world for them if they win or lose. Winning that game would be very great for them. But, they're 0-1 if they lose that game. There's 16 games to go. So, for Kansas City, I mean, 0-1's not going to hurt them either. But I feel like, you're the defending champions. You're on prime time. You got to show the people out there that, you are the defending champions and you're looking to repeat and win your third Super Bowl in 5 years. So there might be a little pressure on KC there, but we'll see what happens. So that's going to open up the NFL season. I like the matchup. You can't go wrong with either team. Obviously, Kansas City won the Super Bowl, so they earned that right to open up. And oh wow, sorry for the interruption. The Florida Panthers upset the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2 in overtime, and they move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. If you're a hockey fan out there, that's some news for you. But anyway, back to the NFL. Here's the rest of the Thursday night schedule. After that first game, we go to Amazon Prime the next week. And week 2, this is a really tasty little matchup here. Minnesota Vikings at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are the defending NFC champions. And this is a great game on paper. I mean, you can't go wrong with this. And we remember last year, Minnesota played Philadelphia, I believe it was a Monday night game, and Philly just ran all over them. And man, that was quite a game. So, and I believe that was week 2 as well. So, yeah, so another week 2 rematch in Philly. Looking ahead here, week 3, September 21st, you got the New York Giants, who made the playoffs last year under first-year head coach Brian Daboll. Daniel Jones is back, got a new contract. They're going to be traveling all the way out west to Santa Clara to play the San Francisco 49ers, who were in the NFC Championship game as well last year. This is an interesting matchup. 2 teams that are expected to make the playoffs. Both teams got Super Bowl aspirations. You could be seeing these teams in late January battle it out for the NFC title. Wouldn't surprise me. Moving right along, we go to week 4, September 28th here. The Lions are back on Thursday night. They're going to go to Green Bay, up to Lambeau Field, an NFC North showdown. This should be an interesting game. Now, Green Bay, who will be playing without Aaron Rodgers for the first time since 2008, I believe. It's the Jordan Love era, most likely, against Detroit. So should be an interesting game. Division games are always going to be closer than people think. So, you would think, oh, the Lions should handle this one. But again, division games, you got to be careful. So, they usually are very close. Moving right along, another NFC North team that will be playing the following week, that's the Chicago Bears. They travel up to the Washington Commanders. This is, again, another interesting game, NFC battle. By the way, the Washington Commanders today, I believe it's official that Josh Harris's ownership group has officially bought the Commanders from that wonderful human being, Daniel Snyder. So good for them. Washington, like I said, they could use some positivity going into this season, and week 5 matchup. And I believe this is the only primetime game for Washington this year. So let's see if they can make the most of it. Should be interesting. October 12th, week 6, you got another division matchup. AFC West this time, the Denver Broncos. New head coach Sean Payton. Him and Russell Wilson will try to right that ship from last year. They go up to defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Again, division matchup. We're starting to see a trend here a little bit with the division matchups on Thursday night. This should be a good game. Depending on what Denver does, how they improve their roster. And as for Kansas City, again, Super Bowl champions from 2022. And division games are always close. I wouldn't be surprised if this one came down to the wire. Moving right along, October 19th, week 7, Jaguars at the Saints. Jacksonville, surprisingly, everybody last year with the postseason appearance came all the way back against the Chargers in their wild card game before losing to KC in the divisional round. They travel up to New Orleans, where there's another new quarterback. His name's Derek Carr. And this should be an interesting game as well. Trevor Lawrence against Derek Carr. I'm keeping my eye out on the defenses, see how they do. Both defenses seem to be pretty good. You can see my pale arms here. So, that should be an interesting matchup, outer conference matchup. Yeah, let's go. Let's see what happens there. The week after that, another NFC team will be playing on Thursday night, and that would be my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are going to be traveling to Buffalo and face Josh Allen and the Bills. It's going to be an interesting game there. Be a tough game for the Bucs, but you never know. Maybe they could pull this one out, get a win there. Buffalo, Josh Allen, they're trying to break through. You know, they've had very good regular seasons, but not so many good postseasons. Maybe this year's the year. We'll see. Then we go to November here, November 2nd, week 9, Titans at Steelers. Should be an interesting game there. You know, both teams are kind of in wouldn't want to say a rebuilding phase, but kind of maybe a reloading phase. We'll see where they're at come November 2nd. November 9th, the Carolina Panthers and their rookie quarterback, Mr. Bryce Young, visits the Chicago Bears to take on Justin Fields and his squad. Should be an interesting game there. Two young quarterbacks, and both defenses should be a lot better, and should be an interesting Thursday night game there. November 16th, we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens. It's an AFC North rivalry, a very good one. I don't see why this can't be a good game. This could go down to the wire. You know, they met 3 times last year. The Bengals won the last matchup in the wild card round. So now they will play November 16th, week 11. And not on here, but on Thanksgiving Day, we got Green Bay at Detroit. Should be an interesting game there. Then you got the Washington Commanders playing the Dallas Cowboys in the afternoon. And the nightcap on Thanksgiving night, we'll call that the dessert. San Francisco is at Seattle. So 3 pretty darn good games there for Thanksgiving. But those games will not be on Amazon. That'll be on CBS, Fox, and NBC. Anyway, but the day after Thanksgiving, this is the first time we've ever had a game on Friday, the game after Thanksgiving. It's Black Friday. That's a shopping day for everybody out there who braves the stores that go there at midnight to grab that special thing they want. But I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is watch this game instead. The Miami Dolphins going to Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets. Tua against AR. AFC East rivalry game. You know, this could be a game where both teams are, you know, tied for first place or close to it. Should be a great divisional game. They usually are in the AFC West or East, I'm sorry. And then November 30th, we got Seattle at Dallas. Interesting game there. December 7th, the New England Patriots go to Pittsburgh on Thursday night. And then December 14th, this is, as you can see in the background, I live in Las Vegas. That's where this game will be. The LA Chargers take on the Las Vegas Raiders. Another AFC West matchup. This could be, maybe, who knows, maybe this could be a division matchup that could decide the AFC West. We're getting close to that toward the regular season coming to an end there. So, and December 21st, the Saints at the Rams. And finally, December 28th, the last Thursday night game of the year, that would be the New York Jets at the Cleveland Browns. All right, so I went through all the games for Thursday night. Let me know what you think, which Thursday night game you guys like. I think a lot of them are really good. Obviously, the Minnesota-Philly game early on. The Jets-Dolphins, you know, Black Friday game. As you can see here again, the Bucs-Bills game could be really good. The Giants and 49ers early on. Bengals-Ravens, I mean, those Chargers-Raiders, man, those games look really, really good. So, yeah. Let's see here. We're going to go to the Sunday night games now. Let's take a peek at that. There we are, the 2023 schedule. It looks a little blurry, that pick there, but I will, as I explained earlier, the Lions-Chiefs open up that Thursday night game. But the opening Sunday night game, that's a division rival game, NFC East. That's Dallas and the Giants. Should be a fun matchup. Both teams made the playoffs last year, and both teams looking to get back there. So yeah, this should be a good start to the season. Week 2, you got the Dolphins Patriots, another divisional matchup, AFC East this time. Week 3, the Steelers come to right here in Vegas, play the Las Vegas Raiders, and the Raiders open their home schedule on Sunday Night Football, so it should be interesting there. Week 4, this is probably the one people are looking forward to the most. If you're a casual NFL fan, it's Patrick Mahomes against Aaron Rodgers, the Chiefs and Jets. Now, here's what's funny, real quick. I'll hide this one. Mahomes and Rodgers have never played in the regular season against each other. Isn't that interesting? This will be the first time they do, unless, God forbid, something happens, an injury or whatever. But this would be the very first matchup these two guys have played. Now you're saying, well, Kansas City and Green Bay, they've played a couple times, but either Mahomes or Rodgers hasn't played in those games. So this would actually be the first matchup between Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. So, but as great as the quarterback matchup is, of course, it's a team sport, and this should be a good game. Both defenses, both offenses could light it up. So let's see what happens there. Week 5, you got the Cowboys and 49ers. That's always a classic rivalry. Week 6 is a New York battle, in-state battle, the Giants and the Bills. That should be a pretty interesting game. I can't wait for that one. Week 7, Dolphins at Eagles. That's a pretty good matchup as well. So, yeah, these first 8 weeks, I got 7 or 8 weeks, man. This is going to be a fun Sunday night. These Sunday night games are going to be pretty darn good. Week 8, you got the Bears at the LA Chargers. That's another interesting game featuring 2 young QBs, Justin Fields and Justin Herbert, the battle of the Justins. Week 9, which is another highly anticipated matchup, Buffalo at Cincinnati. Now, unfortunately, last year we saw the whole thing on Monday night when these two teams played. We all know that Damar Hamlin had that tragic thing happen to him on the field. But this time, hopefully, that we can see what happens in this game, in this primetime matchup there. So it should be good. Week 10, the Jets come back here to Las Vegas, play the Raiders on Sunday night. Week 11, the Vikings and Broncos. Should be an interesting Sunday night game. And there's the Thanksgiving game, as I mentioned earlier, the 49ers and Seahawks. Week 12, the Ravens go to the Los Angeles Chargers again. Should be an interesting game there. Chargers get another Sunday night game. 2 games in 4 weeks on primetime. That's cool for them. Week 13, Kansas City at Green Bay. Now, it's Patrick Mahomes versus, not Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love there. So, as well. Week 14, NFC East matchup. Love it. Eagles at the Cowboys. Should be great. Again, that could be a matchup by that time, maybe for the division title. Week 15, the Ravens go to Jacksonville. This should be fun game. Last year, the Jaguars beat the Ravens in overtime, I believe, in Jacksonville. It was quite a game there. This time, they'll do it under the bright lights of Sunday night. Week 16, AFC North rivalry, Bengals and Steelers. Interesting. We'll see what those two teams are. Another game that's going to be on Sunday night this year, I think it's the Saturday ones. I don't know if this is probably Christmas Eve, the 23rd, I believe. Buffalo and the Chargers. But this game right here, the Bills and Chargers will be exclusively to Peacock. So if you have the Peacock streaming service, you'll get to see that game. If not, Peacock is free. So if you get the free version, you can see this game. So check that out. But if you're in the Buffalo or LA area, you'll get it on your local channel because by NFL rules, you have that game of your local team has to be shown. So Yeah, just thought I'd give you a little tidbit there. Week 17, of course, is Green Bay and Minnesota. That's an NFC North rivalry. Should be a lot of fun there. And week 18, as you can see, is to be determined because every year we got the last week of the regular season. They like to put on the best matchup. So it's normally it's for like a division title or for a playoff spot or both. So we will not know that matchup until week 18. So there you go, everybody. That is the Sunday night schedule. Now, before I get to the Monday night schedule, I'm going to take a sip of water, clear my throat, and then we're going to get to some of these comments tonight. We've got quite a bit of them. Here we go. Alex Schomber, thanks for tuning in, Alec. Let's go. Absolutely. Scott Thaler, where are we going? Alex Schomber. I don't know. You have to ask him. Alex Schomber, just stop Scott Thaler. Okay. Scott Thaler, Alex Schomber, let's go Rams. Nicholas Rosario Jr., thanks for tuning in, bud. The Bears will be victorious. Yeah, they play the Chargers this year. That could be an interesting game. As we saw last night on the NFL edition, we were going over the schedules. The Bears and Chargers were one of those games Sunday night. And Nick, I picked the Chargers, but I think this is going to be a close game. This could be closer than people think. Depending where the Bears are, they are they're going to improve. I can't wait to see that game. It's going to be fun. We'll go back to the Thursday night schedule. You guys are, you're in week 5 against the Commanders, and the Sunday night game, you're week 8. So yeah, you're getting some love there, Nick, and you deserve it because the Bears are a up and coming team, getting better and better. We'll see what happens. Can't wait to see that game as well. But they will not be victorious against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Nick. So sorry, but I got to call it like it is. Facebook users, I'm assuming this is Corey Brown. Florida Panthers beat the Maple Leafs, moving on to Eastern Conference Finals since '96. Yep, I saw that as I was going on here live. So Justin Fields worst. Okay. Sean Spencer, thanks for tuning in. Wrong. Bucks are the worst. Wrong. They're not. The Commanders are. Just kidding. You're lucky we're not playing them this year, or we would beat them. But good luck with Baker Mayfield Jr. I mean, Sam Howell. See how that works out. Christopher Cole, thanks for tuning in, man. Hey, buddy. Hey, Chris. How you doing tonight, man? Good to see you, as always. Facebook user. Let's see. I'm assuming again. That would be Corey. Sean Spencer, not ready. Y'all not ready, Corey. Okay. All right, Sean Spencer. You're bringing it tonight. Of course, I've laid out the challenge. If you want to come at me, I'm right here in Vegas, but I figured, you won't show up. You look like too nice of a guy with that profile pic on. By the way, it is a nice pic of you during your football days. Is that the Emmitt Smith jersey you're wearing? The Cowboys? I'm just kidding. That's blasphemous. I shouldn't say that because you're a Commanders fan. So let's see. We got Jaguars going to look dangerous, offensive and defensive. Okay. That's from Mr. Corey Brown. So we are. And Scott Thaler says, too bad the Rams don't play the Bucks. That would be a win for the Rams. I don't think so. That would be a win for the Bucks. All right. So the comments are read here. I'm sure there'll be more popping on, pretty soon. Let's get to the Monday night schedule. Let me try to find that. I think this is it here. And there we are. This is the Monday night football schedule, primetime matchup. Before we get into that, I want to say that I believe the Arizona Cardinals are the only team this year that will not have a primetime game. Not on Thursday, Sunday night, or Monday night games. So the league was talking about possibly a team or two not having a primetime game, but and it turned out to be the Cardinals. So, and obviously, Kyler Murray's not going to be playing at least for the start of the season. He had a torn ACL he's recovering from, so that might have something to do with it. And possibly the Cardinals, maybe not as good as people think, but who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us. And as you know, the schedule does flex for the Sunday night games, so I believe it's week 7 or 8 that starts flexing. So if Arizona happens to do good, maybe they'll get on primetime. But with that being said, let's go over the 2023 Monday Night Football schedule. As you can see there, September 11th, it's going to be the Bills and Jets. And an AFC East rivalry, that's Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers. I know I keep saying the quarterback versus quarterback, but I'm saying this from a promotion level because that's what ESPN, Fox, NBC, CBS, they're promoting, and that's what's going to draw people in is the quarterbacks. So that's why I say that. Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers. Bills and Jets, week 1. Now, here's a like a little thing, a little change to the Monday Night Football schedule here. For the next 2 Monday nights, week 2 and 3, you're going to have double headers here. You're going to have 2 games. Now they're going to be on ESPN and ABC. The Saints and Panthers will be on ESPN. And then on ABC, it's going to be the Browns and the Steelers. So that's an interesting little twist. Have a doubleheader. They did a doubleheader last year. I believe it was Minnesota and Philly and Tennessee and Buffalo, I want to say. I think that's what it was. So, yeah. Yep. So as you can see, if you can see it there, that's a ABC exclusive game, Browns and Steelers. And week 3 is going to have the same thing. You're going to have 2 games here. The ABC exclusive game, which means it'll be on national TV to everybody if they don't have cable or anything, will be the Eagles and Buccaneers, defending NFC champions against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who a few years before that were the Super Bowl champs. In Tampa, should be an interesting game there. The Rams and Bengals will be the other primetime game on ESPN. So Scott Thaler, the Rams are on primetime. Your boys go to Cincinnati. So that should be a big game for you guys. And then after that, week 4, and this is going to be an ESPN Plus exclusive. This will be the first London game, October 1st. This will be the Falcons and the Jaguars. So if anybody except Calvin Ridley is betting on this game, I would take, no, I'm just kidding. Too soon, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, Falcons and Jaguars in London, October 1st on ESPN Plus. Let me get another sip of water. That's good. Always drink your H2O, people. October 2nd, Monday Night Football. That's the following night. The Seahawks go to the Giants. That should be an interesting game there. Then the next week, the Green Bay Packers come out here to Vegas, where I'm at right now. They take on the Las Vegas Raiders. The following week, October 16th, that's week 6. The Dallas Cowboys visit the LA Chargers. That should be an interesting game there. 2 teams, again, both made the playoffs. Should be a very fun game to watch. I could see that being high scoring. October 23rd, week 7, the 49ers take on the Minnesota Vikings. Should be an interesting game there too. So these Monday night games are looking pretty good so far. Week 8, the Las Vegas Raiders go on the road to take on the Detroit Lions. That should be a fun game. Yeah, Detroit getting some primetime love there, and they deserve that. November, we hit November now. Week 9, the LA Chargers go to the New York Jets. That's Herbert against Mr. Aaron Rodgers. And you pretty much knew Aaron Rodgers, you're probably going to get a lot of primetime games, so no exception there. The following week, November 13th, that is week 10, that will be the Denver Broncos going to Buffalo. So 2 weeks in a row, they'll be in New York, state of New York, the Broncos Bills. Should be an interesting game. And then the Super Bowl rematch, Week 11, November 20th, the week Thanksgiving week. Man, this should be a very, very good game. I can't wait to see it, and this will probably get a lot of viewers. There'll be the Eagles at the Chiefs Super Bowl rematch in KC. I thought this would open up the Thursday night opening night game, but they went with Lions and Chiefs instead. And again, nothing wrong with that. But we'll get the rematch here November 20th. So that should be fun to watch. The weekend after Thanksgiving, the 27th of November, Nick Rosario, your boys, the Bears, go up to Minnesota in an NFC North matchup. Should be a fun game to watch there as well. Now we're in December, week 13, the Bengals at the Jaguars. That should be a very good game. Both teams, have Super Bowl aspirations. They want to try and knock off the Chiefs. These two teams look like they can be the teams to do that. So we'll see. Both teams, probably most likely, who knows, might be leading their divisions by then. So can't wait to see that game. And then we're going to have a doubleheader here. December 11th. This will be the third doubleheader on Monday night this year. The NFL is really, really in love with these doubleheaders on Monday nights. Very interesting. So week 14, December 11th, you got the Tennessee Titans going to the Miami Dolphins. That should be an interesting game there. And then on ABC, you got the Green Bay Packers at the New York Giants. That should be a fun game as well. So there's 3 double headers this year on Monday Night Football. Week 2 and 3, and then week 14 on December 11th. So, guys, if you're not doing anything Monday night, you got plenty to watch. So let's move over to week 15, December 18th. The Chiefs go to New England up there in Foxborough. Should be an interesting game as well. New England, we'll see how they do this year. Let's see if Mac Jones can improve, develop, and Patriots made some moves in the offseason, drafted pretty good. They got Juju Smith-Schuster from the Chiefs. So they got a weapon for Mr. Jones there. Then Christmas Day. It's an ABC exclusive. It will be the Baltimore Ravens going up against the San Francisco 49ers. That should be a very good game. You expect these two teams to be at the top of their division or near the top or in playoff positioning. So, yeah, that should be a very, very fun game to watch. And a great Christmas Day, perfect game to put on Christmas as well. So, yeah, you want those playoff type teams to be on there Christmas Day. So, can't wait to see that. And then December 30th, week 17, it'll be Detroit and the Dallas Cowboys. That should be a fun matchup. Like I said, both teams could be not only leading their divisions, but fighting for that playoff spot as well, man. So very good matchup there. And then January 6th, it'll be another doubleheader. Man, what is going on with these that's the fourth doubleheader they're going to have on Monday night this year. So you're starting to see a trend here, everybody, that I'm going to look on my calendar right here on my phone. And it's actually a Saturday, not a Sunday, or a Monday, I should say. So I stand corrected. It'll be on a Saturday. You got double headers there. So, man, it's interesting that they're doing these double headers this year. They're really pumping out the games, trying to get people to watch. I mean, the NFL, they just know how to market. And, that's why they're the kings of sports here in America. So, yeah, that is the schedule there for the Monday night game, man. What do you guys think? I mean, these are some very fun matchups. And, every year we're always looking forward to who our teams are playing, when we're playing them, if we're getting a primetime game. As you know, my Bucks are getting a primetime game as well. We're getting 2 of those. The LA Chargers have the most with 6 primetime games. That's impressive. That really is. I think the Chiefs only have like 5. So that tells you a lot right there. So anyway, let's get to our comments here. We're going to go, let's see. Tampa Bay Buccaneers got best throwback jersey in history. Yeah, as you know. Thank you, Corey. He's talking about the creamsicles. Those are the coming back this year, and as a Bucs fan, I think that's awesome that they're finally bringing those jerseys back and the helmet. There's a rule that's been put in place for the last decade that for player safety rules that the helmets, you can only wear one helmet. And the Buccaneers, unfortunately, unfortunately or unfortunately, depending how you look at it, they changed the color of the helmet. They went from white to pewter. And because of the league rules with the helmet, the safety part of it, they couldn't switch helmets. So that's why you hadn't seen the Bucs with their creamsicle look. But it's coming back this year. You can wear multiple helmets. They're making them safe as well, that you can wear multiple helmets. So I definitely cannot wait for that this year if you're a Bucs fan. Speaking of Bucs fans, Mr. Christopher Cole says the Bucs could start 2-2 or 3-1. Yeah, I mean, and I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. And by the way, episode 2 of Let's Buck with Ben will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific, right here on the Ben Zone. You can also catch it, you can see up above right there on my social media handles at Ben Cornett 9015 on YouTube, like Christopher Cole's watching on there, and on Twitter at BennyBoy702. So, yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific. Let's Buck with Ben, episode 2. I'll give you the Antoine Winfield right there. We will discuss our schedule, the Bucs 2023 schedule, as well as the quarterback competition. A lot of people are saying that it could be Baker Mayfield. A lot of people are saying it could be Kyle Trask. So we'll discuss that tomorrow on Let's Buck with Ben, episode 2 here. And let's see, Facebook users, Corey, Cardinals 2-15 unless they sign Cam Newton available. I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. You never know, but I don't see it happening. Looks like Corey again. Let's see. Bucs beat Eagles. Rivalry. Eagles cannot beat Bucs since 2012. 10 years. Bucs owner. Eagles regular season and playoffs. Alrighty. Sean Spencer, bro, not only will we be better than 2-15, but we'll be better than your team. Ooh, I like this little one-on-one with Sean and Corey. I guess Sean's moved on from me now. I guess he knew he couldn't mess with us, so he's going to go pick on somebody littler. And yeah, so come on, Sean. Step up, man. Step up. Step up to me. Step up to this. No. We're just kidding. Me and Sean, we're friendly. We have a nice little rivalry. It's all good. All good in the hood. Sean Spencer, y'all team isn't great. Who is your quarterback? Do you think that with your team you can beat the best team in the NFC? Come on, man. Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be different, Sean. This year the Bucs, we've moved on from the Brady era, and he is retired. Now we're going with either Mayfield or Trask. We'll see what happens in training camp. I'll give my personal opinions on that on tomorrow's Let's Buck with Ben show. But who knows? We'll see. In Washington, they're in a similar situation. We're assuming Sam Howell's going to start, but they did bring in Jacoby Brissett for competition. So we'll see what happens between those two guys during training camp. Sean drunk tonight. Okay. Corey also says, go Kyle Trask. Okay. Yeah, maybe he will. Maybe he'll be the guy. We'll see. Bills and Jets game could be a defensive game. That's Christopher Cole watching on YouTube. Yeah, I agree. I mean, both the Bills and Jets have very good defenses. But the Bills did lose probably one of their best defensive players, Tremaine Edmonds, to the Chicago Bears. He's one not only their best linebacker, but one of their better defensive players. But the Bills should be still pretty good defensively, and same for the Jets. The Jets, if they had a better quarterback and a little better offense, I think they would have made the playoffs. They were a sneaky good team. They were 7-10, but their defense kept them in every game. So you're right about that, Chris. This could be a very good defensive type of game. I can't wait to see it. Let's see. Facebook user, I assume that's Corey. He is saying Tampa Bay Buccaneers still going to win the NFC South. Great defense and offensive weapons over Panthers, Saints, and Falcons. Yeah, I mean, it's a wide open division, but you never know. You never know, Corey. We'll see what happens. We got to play the games. Can't win them on paper, and it's going to be a different year. It's going to be different than what it was the last few years for the Bucs. I'll discuss that tomorrow when we're on Let's Buck with Ben. But we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. I hope you're right, Corey. Christopher Cole says, I'm wondering if the December 11th games could be flexed. Yeah, let's see here, Chris. I'll bring that back up here. That's a good comment, by the way. Good question, too. I think it's the Monday night game. Yep, right there. So, Chris, that's the December 11th games. There are 2 games there. That's going to be the Titans and Dolphins and Packers and Giants. It's Monday night, but they were talking about flexing so on a Monday night as well. So who knows? You could be absolutely right there, Chris. That could very well happen. And if that does, it'll be interesting to see which games get moved. So yeah, that should be interesting. Corey again, Bucks versus Panthers, Sunday Night Football, Week 18 for the NFC South. Hey, I hope so. That'd be great. I'd love that. I'd love to see that. Sean Spencer, the Panthers and Falcons have improved their defense. What can your offense do? Well, Sean, we do have Mike Evans. We do have Chris Godwin. We got Rashad White. We still got weapons, but again, it's going to come down to the quarterback, and the offensive line. Can this young offensive line protect whoever's going to be at center, who's ever going to be under center, whether that's Baker or Kyle Trask? We'll see. Comes down to quarterback play usually, but comes down to a great offensive line. If you have a good offensive line that can stay healthy, that's the key. Last year the Bucs didn't have that, and no matter how great Tom Brady was, you can't have a mediocre to weak offensive line. You just can't. You're never going to succeed. So that's what hurt us last year, and hopefully it helps us this year. We can improve. It's going to take time, though. We gotta gel. We gotta get that chemistry going with whoever's going to be our quarterback. That's going to be the key. That chemistry. We'll see how it plays out. Bucks have too many 1:00 games. Yeah, they're mostly 1:00 Eastern games. Couple primetime games. I believe the Bucks and Jaguars, if I'm not mistaken, they play a late afternoon game on December 23rd. But other than that, they're mostly going to be early games. Early games for the Bucks this season. Sean Spencer, Ben, you're my WrestleMania match. He's just my pay-per-view match. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad I've been elevated to WrestleMania status. Thank you, Sean. Let's see. Also, we got Sean Spencer says, and he's a Commanders fan. I see us going 8-9. Possibly. I mean, or 9-8, 8-9. I do see that kind of middle ground. Again, I'm not so worried about on the field for you guys. I'm worried what's off the field. And with the news today, it seems like your off the field issues may be over with. You got a new ownership. I'm glad you do, because that way I believe that's really been a distraction for you guys, and um, hopefully you can get behind that, put that behind you, focus on football, focus on trying to win that division. So if you guys can do that, I mean, you know, who knows? You may surprise people. And again, I think Chase Young, your defensive end, he's got to show up this year. They didn't pick up his option from what I heard, so we'll see what happens with that. If your defense can play well, along with your offense, if Sam Howell can develop into I'm assuming he's going to be the starter. That's what I've been hearing from you and Will Kramer from your show there on usually on Mondays and Wednesdays. I think it's Wednesdays. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. It's on Let's Talk Football, the Commander show. So that's shared on my Ben Zone as well. So yeah, you've been talking about Sam Howell maybe being the guy. So if he develops well, then you certainly got a chance. Definitely do. Wow, Corey. So Sean Spencer. Okay. Let's see, Corey again. Dave Canellis and Todd Bowles did say Kyle Trask, number one quarterback before signing Baker Mayfield. They were liars. Well, Corey, the thing is with that, I always look at that as coach speak. They're going to say those things. I mean, what are they going to say? Like, well, Baker's our guy. Kyle Trask's not that good. No, they're not going to say that because they want to, prop these guys up, not give anything away. No coach is going to berate a, player in front of the media. So, to me, again, I'll explain it tomorrow on our Let's Buck with Ben show. But we'll see what happens. That's all I can say. With that quarterback situation. Ron Rivera is still in the hot seat. That's fair. That's fair because they haven't done as they really haven't done well these last couple of years. Obviously, the quarterback situations kind of hurt them. Last year they brought in Carson Wentz. That was a fart in church. Didn't work out. So they released him, and yeah, they gotta figure out that quarterback situation. Maybe that'll get them over the top. Hopefully. But yeah, he could be on the hot seat. And my personal opinion, real quick, with the Commanders, I think they hired Eric Bieniemy to eventually take Ron Rivera's place. That's just my opinion. So, be that as it may. Sean Spencer says, new ownership, new OC, coach on the hot seat could be the recipe for disaster or success. Can't wait to find out. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. You guys can either surprise the league and do real well, set the NFL world on fire, or you can set yourselves on fire and they could just burn everything up. But again, this is going to come down to quarterback play, and your defense has to stay healthy and produce, to give your offense a chance every week. And like I said, with the new ownership, the distractions off the field, I think are going to, with that no longer being a factor, presumably we know that there's new ownership now. It's just got to get the pen and paper and approval by the league and its owners. Those distractions could go away, and hopefully the Commanders can focus on the product on the field. So maybe that'll help. Let's see. I think he will be. Okay. And I think you're referring to Sam Howell. Sean Spencer on Wednesdays. Okay, that's your show. All right. Awesome. Man, you and Will Kramer, by the way, do a really good job there. Can't wait to see it. Let's see. What else we got here? You're right. And then Christopher Cole from YouTube says, Panthers have a decent defense but traded their top weapon, and the Falcons needed to draft defense and they draft offense. Yeah, that's good points. The Panthers do have a good defense. But we'll see. With Bryce Young offensively, is he going to be the guy? He's a rookie. He's going to start right away. So you're putting him out there. We'll see what he can do. Washington Commanders defense coordinator Jack Del Rio, old and washed up. Man, you are just poking the bear, aren't you, Mr. Corey Brown? Or I should say, poking the commander there. And Facebook user says, Ben, this is going to list head coach and hot seats for teams. List hot, okay. Coaches on the hot seat. Okay. If I had to pick a couple, I would probably, I gotta say it, Sean, but Ron Rivera could be one of those guys. Another one, I will say Arthur Smith in Atlanta. This is his third season. They haven't really shown any kind of improvement. They did draft a great running back in Bijan Robinson out of Texas. Maybe that'll help their offense get going, but I do believe Arthur Smith has to have a big year this year, get to the playoffs or get close to it. If not, if he has another underwhelming year, I think we could see Arthur Smith go. I really do in Atlanta. Another guy I would put there would be Brandon Staley of the Chargers. They did make the playoffs last year, but they did blow that big lead in the playoff game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I would have thought they'd get rid of him and bring in Sean Payton. But that didn't happen. Staley had to get rid of his coordinators. That was done. So he got to keep his job. But I can tell you right now, I think if the Chargers don't make the playoffs this year, you could see Brandon Staley out of there. So those would be my three guys on the hot seat: Ron Rivera, Arthur Smith, and Brandon Staley. So those would be the three guys. Edgar Rivera, thank you for tuning in tonight, man. Appreciate it. Edgar, another Bucks fan and a sports fan as well. Lightning fan. Love Edgar. Thank you for tuning in. He says, who wins tonight's game, Oilers or Golden Knights? Oh, man. I'm hoping the Golden Knights, but we did lose Alex Pietrangelo. He got suspended for one game for that high hit there. That's a big loss on our defense. So I hope we win. But, boy, Edmonton, they're tough, man. They want that Stanley Cup. And, Leon Draisaitl's having a series of his life. Connor McDavid, Evander Kane. They're a good team. Yeah, we'll see what happens. And I'm hoping the Golden Knights. Let's see. Dennis Allen, New Orleans, hot seat. That's Corey. I think unless he has a really stinker of a year, we're talking maybe like 4-13 or fewer wins, then I could see that. But I think he'll get another year. And Corey, I think Titans fire everyone and GM full rebuild. Yeah, that's an interesting thing going on down there in Nashville. Ryan Tannehill he's getting older. I've never thought highly of him as a quarterback. He's a nice guy, but not a franchise type quarterback. But he's making a lot of money right now. I don't know if teams would trade for him, because of that contract, So I think you're stuck with him for at least another year. There's word going out right now that Malik Willis may not be there much longer. They feel like he hasn't developed as they thought, but for God's sake, it's his rookie year, Like, what do you expect? I don't know. So, we'll see what happens in Tennessee. It's, they do got Derrick Henry still, but again, if that's all you got, then, you're not going to go very far. And we saw that last year, They need to get some more offense. They traded AJ Brown last year to the Eagles. They did draft Trayvon Burks from Arkansas, but they need more than that. I still think they need a quarterback. And Ryan Tannehill's not the answer. Mike Vrabel, I think he's a good coach, but maybe it's a situation where it's more. Maybe it's time for a new place to coach. Mike Vrabel in Tennessee may have to get a divorce, and just move on, date somebody else, go find somebody else. Mike Vrabel, I think, would absolutely get a job anywhere because he's taken Tennessee to the playoffs a couple times, with a pretty average team, and he's a great defensive mind. So, if they let Mike Vrabel go, then he'll get a job somewhere. I'm not worried about that. So, if you're a Titans fan, shouldn't be worried about that. Let's see here. What is your take on the? This is Edgar Rivera. What is your take on the NHL lottery? Yeah, that is interesting. That's been a lot of talk about that with the whole Connor Bedard thing. A generational talent. I don't. Look, people are saying it's rigged. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. We know who is going number one. It's Connor Bedard. Okay, 17 years old. He's, I've seen a few highlights of him. He looks great. He looks like a generational talent, and good for the Blackhawks. Good for the Blackhawks. But I do think it should be like the NBA. They should be able to televise this lottery. Do what the NBA does with the balls in the little thingamajiggy. I forget what you call it, but yeah, so. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Blackhawks will select Connor Bedard. They would be dumb not to. You've already sold tickets for next year, so you pretty much can't back out of that. So, and speaking of hockey, Andrew Faubert, what's good, Ben? Andrew, thank you for tuning in tonight. I did see a little bit of your show tonight. You had you did some hockey talk with Mr. Barron there. He's a Blackhawks fan. I'm sure he's thrilled that he will be buying and wearing a Connor Bedard jersey next year. By the way, good stuff, Andrew. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it, bud. Facebook user Corey Brown. Dave Canelli's future head coach maybe replace Todd Bowles in the near future. We'll see. We don't know yet. But Bowles does need to show something. I'm going to discuss this tomorrow on Let's Buck with Ben. I'll give you some more insight on that, but I got to see something out of Todd Bowles. I think he's a great defensive coach, but as a head coach, I just don't think he's up for that task. And last year kind of showed it. You had Tom Brady, you had Evans, Godwin, you had Vita Vea, you had Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, Levante David, Devin White. But head coach is a lot different than being a defensive coordinator. And I think Todd Bowles is a much better defensive coordinator than head coach. Just my opinion. And let's see. Facebook user Corey Brown says Florida Panthers could win the Stanley Cup. In hockey, Corey, it's a team can get hot at the right time. And Florida right now is getting hot at the right time. They're playing well. Reinhardt's played well for them. It's funny because last year they were the President Trophy winner, and they got bounced out by Florida, and I think they were swept too. And this year, the Boston Bruins were the President's Trophy winner. They got bounced out by Florida. they're playing good right now. But I will say this: Toronto Maple Leafs, and I know we're talking NFL schedule and everything, but for any of the Maple Leaf fans out there, I feel bad for these guys. I mean, yeah, you got the first playoff series win since 2004, but then your team just lays a steaming shit on the ice in 5. They were lucky to win game 4, obviously. I really think the Maple Leafs need to. I don't want to say blow it up, but they got to do something, man. I mean, Sheldon Keefe, I don't think is a very good head coach. I think he's one of those. I think his stick would work better in the minor leagues, but in the NHL, you gotta. It's different. The playoffs are different than the regular season, and I think you just got guys that just don't have it. You know, like yeah, Austin Matthews is a great player, but does he have? Does he have that want to, that drive to win a Stanley Cup? You know, guys like Connor McDavid, um, they have that drive, and I don't see it in Austin Matthews. I mean, he's a great player, great scorer, but come on now. I mean, you're making a lot of money. You got to do something. You know, I think what you got to do, and again, I'm not the biggest hockey expert, but if guys like Edgar and Andrew could help me out here, what's the deal with this Maple Leafs team? I mean, it seems like they they have the talent, but from what I see, it's just maybe it's the pieces that just don't fit, and they need to like find players that can fit. Now I know Matthews, I think he's due for an extension. John Tavares is pretty much stuck with you because of the like 11 million I think he makes a year. Nylander, I mean, you know, and Marner. Um, I don't know. I mean, I listened to some of the Maple Leafs podcasts and everything from time or two. They got to do something, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe they blow it up. Who knows? But I'm just giving you my honest opinion. I think the Lightning just ran out of gas. Toronto should have beaten the Lightning. I think they're the better team than the Lightning, but the Lightning blew 2 games, games 3 and 4. They blew big leads in that game, and Tampa would have won that series had they not have blown leads in those games. So, you know, can you really say Toronto? Maybe they just got lucky, you know, to get to where they're at now. But anyway, that's the hockey talk right there. The football, Todd Bowles and Dennis Allen, same thing, but Bucks have more talent than the Saints. I agree. I agree with that. My Lightning swept Florida Panthers last year. Yeah, I just mentioned that. Maple Leafs are the Cubs of hockey. Okay. That seems fair. Yeah. But, you know, the Cubs did win a World Series 7 years ago. So never know. I mean, that's another thing. The Maple Leafs, I'm sorry. It's been 1967 since the last time they won a Stanley Cup and made it to a Stanley Cup final. 1967. Wow. Feel bad for those fans, man. They deserve better. Corey, I only John Cooper, great head coach in NHL right now. Okay. Edgar says, no steady goaltender. Defense is shaky at best. Yeah. Well, they had the injury to Ngazikov. Is that how you pronounce his name? Ngazikov. Yeah. He got hurt, and they put I forget his name in there, but yeah, they need a goaltender. That's huge. You know. Yeah. So they need something because this team seems too talented not to go further than they are. And Corey says Lightning was banged up with injuries. Yeah. And you know, the Lightning, man, they went to the Stanley Cup Finals, what, 3 years in a row? They've played a lot of hockey. I mean, eventually you're going to get tired, man. You have shorter off seasons, and that I think that was a lot of the reason why they didn't advance further than they did this year. They just ran out of gas, and the injuries played a part in that too. You know, you have that many injuries, and you play that many games for a few years. You go on that run like that. I mean, it's eventually going to tire you out. I'm not making excuses, but that's just how it is. You know, I mean, you know, the great teams just they're going to run out of gas eventually. So, you know, you can't. That's why you don't really have dynasties as much anymore. You know, it's just because you're just playing so many games. But good for the Lightning, though. They got 2 Stanley Cups out of it. I mean, they should be very proud. They've won 3 in their history, so it's a great run the last few years. Got to give it to them. Flyers worst. And thank you, Edgar. Appreciate you correcting me. Samsonov is the Maple Leafs goaltender. Yeah, he got hurt. Um, he's okay at best. But you're right; they could use a better goaltender. I don't know who you can go after. I don't know if there's any goaltenders in the free agent market out there this year, but we'll see what they can do. And let's see, what's your take on the Bucks depth chart at offensive linemen? Again, they picked up the guy from the Rams, Freer, I think his name is. You know, they got dropped Cody Mock. He could play both guards, left or right guard. Worf's going to the left side. I'm a little hesitant with that because I think he's a better right tackle, but he can play left tackle. But that takes time, Edgar. You know, moving a guy from the right to the left. And Worf's is great. Don't get me wrong. I think he can be a great left tackle, but it's going to take some work. We'll see how it plays out. You know, they might move Hainsey to the right uh, tackle position. I don't know about that, but we'll see. Ryan Jensen's back at center. Uh, Hopefully he can. It's going to take him some time. You know, he's got to get healthy. That leg's got to get 100%, and he's got to develop that chemistry with whoever the quarterback's going to be, Mayfield or Trask. We'll discuss more of that tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. And Lightning head coach John Cooper, only head coach been around longer, 2013, than all NHL hockey team. Yeah. Oh, and Edgar, you can answer this goaltender question. By the way, thank you, Edgar, for the hockey talk because again, I'm a fan, but not a you know a diehard hockey fan. You know, I don't follow it religiously like a lot of people do. You know, I'm trying, but he says Maple Leafs have a young goaltender, Woll, who played tonight. Okay, that's his name. Thank you. Corey says Zico Elliott signs Bucks game changer. Yeah, I've heard that. I've been hearing that. I think he goes back to Dallas, though. I just got a feeling that Dallas will resign him. Maybe to a 1-year deal. You know, they let him go because of the money. I'm okay with that, but at the same time, Tony Pollard is out right now. He's recovering from his injury from last year in the playoff game against San Francisco. So I don't know. We'll see how he does. But with Zeke, yeah, the rumor is the Bucks have been one of those teams that he's been linked to. Dave Canales did coach him. You know, so who knows? We'll see what happens there. But the Bucks could use some depth at running back. Right now, they got Rashad White. They got Chase Edmonds that they signed. You know, Keyshawn Vaughn, I think, still there, but you know, we really haven't seen much from Keyshawn Vaughn to say, you know, is he going to even make the roster? So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that Bucks talk. We will talk about the Bucks tomorrow on Let's Buck with Ben. Yeah. So guys, thanks for the comments, man. I appreciate that. Love hearing your opinions. Um, like I said, tonight we were talking about the schedule coming out here on Have At It. Uh, let's read one more comment here. Corey says Vikings want to trade running back Dalvin Cook. That's been discussed a lot. Yes, you're right about that. We've been hearing that. Probably trade him before June 1st. So, the Bucks, maybe you could see him there. If you get Dalvin Cook, I mean that's huge. Because we know Canales his offense are run heavy, so Bucks could look into that. Very much look into that. Edgar says running backs are replaceable. Yeah, these days they are. Replaced Fournette. So, yeah, anybody's replaceable. Those running backs, it's just not the same. I mean, as it used to be 20 years ago. So, this is the passing league era. We're slowly starting to see the running game become more potent for certain offenses in the NFL nowadays. But you're right, Edgar. I mean, the running backs are replaceable, but a lot of positions are replaceable in the NFL. Teams like young players, and I think with the running back, anywhere after 25 is you're getting older, so you're an old running back. It's just the way it is. So, and Edgar says Bucks depth chart at running or fine at running back. Okay, well, like I said, we had Rashard White, we had Chase Edmonds, we signed from Miami, and we got Keyshawn Vaughn still. So there's 3 right there. I think we did draft another running back. I'll have to look it up again, but and we'll probably sign another one in the off season for training camp with Jason Light. One thing Jason Light's been good at is these non-drafted free agents. Look at Cameron Brate. He turned out to be pretty good for us. For the most part. I mean, the last couple of years, not so much, but I'm just saying with Jason Light, he's done good with getting those non-drafted free agents. So we'll see, man. Maybe he'll get another one. Andrew Faubert, thanks again for coming on, man. He says running backs got to learn to take the right type of contracts to stay on teams. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're not getting the money like the right wide receivers are or the defensive ends. Why do you think linebackers want to be paid like defensive? They like to switch their position. That's the key. And with Leonard, I think it's money related. He wanted to keep his salary, but the Bucks, they have the credit they took the credit card, maxed out last couple of years, and the bills are due. So people had to get cut, and Fournette was one of those guys. Salary cap reasons. Donovan Smith, salary cap reasons. My thought on Donovan was, yeah, he wasn't the best left tackle. I know people they're getting tired of him. And believe me, I was frustrated too with the holdings calls and that. But I always had to think to myself, okay, and to tell people, give them a perspective, like, well, if you cut him, then you better find a better left tackle than him. Unfortunately, there's not that many. And so, yeah, I'm okay with it. But now moving Wirfs to the left tackle, I don't want to say I'm a little nervous, but maybe I am, just because Wirfs is so good on the right side. And Wirfs can play left tackle. It's not the question, but that's going to take time. And, we'll see what he can do. Hopefully he can gel there, be just as good as left tackle as he was a right tackle. But yeah, as far as the running backs, again, Andrew, to answer your question, I mean, it's just one of those things where, they're teams are not going to put as much money into running backs as they did, as they do with wide receivers. So, yeah, that's why you're not seeing those and hey, listen, they running backs they need to realize that it's the NFL, not for long. So, get that big payday while you can. I understand that. So, yeah. Hold on one sec, guys. Okay. I'm turning my green screen off because it's kind of causing the computer to go slow. So now you see a green screen. Facebook user, that's Edgar, I assume. The undrafted free agents, run back Tucker, correct? Thank you, Edgar. Edgar, he is the guy. He knows his stuff, man. Appreciate the comments and the info. Let's see. Corey, who's Buck's number one tight end? Cade Otton or Payne Durham? I'm going Cade Otton right now, but Payne Durham, man. You seen that dude? You got some mean looking dudes. Cody Mock, Payne Durham. Watch out, people. These guys are mean MFers. And Adam Humphries, correct, Mr. Edgar Rivera. It's like I said, Jason Light's done a great job of finding those undrafted free agents. Adam Humphries was one of them, and Peyton Barber, you got the most out of it. Correct. Absolutely. So, got to trust Jason Light. He can go out and find those guys. Him and his scouts can go find those undrafted free agents. Andrew says, like if Fournette was $4 million with 5.5 incentives every year, he wouldn't be cut. Yeah, but the Bucks, they signed him to that new deal, 2021, and they didn't get what they wanted out of it, and Rachaad White did impress. He got better as the year went on. And again, Andrew, it's one of those things where we kicked that perennial can down the road, and you can only kick it so far down the road before you see it again. And that bill was due, and cuts had to be made financially. It's just part of it, and that's part of the things that happen when you try to keep everybody on that Super Bowl roster. And I will never complain about it because we got a Super Bowl out of it. We made another playoff appearance, or 2 playoff appearances in a row after that. So I'm glad we went out. We made the effort. The front office made that effort to try to win a championship. They did, and now Brady retired. He retired before June 1st, so we were on the books for $35 million, and that means we had to cut some players to get, to now get under that salary cap. So it happens. It's just the way it is. Let's see. Corey says DeMar Dotson was worst Bucks offensive lineman. No, I don't agree with that. He was kind of slowing down toward the end of his career with the Bucks, but he was pretty good for us. He was a good tackle for us. So I like DeMar Dotson, but again, once Bruce Arians came to town, that's when they made some decisions, and he was one of the guys that got let go. But he's getting to that age where he was, not as effective. But I think Dotson was pretty good. Andrew says Bijan may be the only one in the next few years that gets it only because they will use him as a wide receiver as well. Yeah, I'm going to star that comment, Andrew. That's a very good point, because one of the great things about Bijan Robinson is he can catch for a wide receiver. And, that's what we're hoping Rachaad White can be. He's had moments where he's done that, but nowadays with the running backs, you need to have them be more versatile, not just run the ball. They got to be, good catching running backs off screens. And Bijan Robinson has the talent to do it. And for Atlanta, they got to get the quarterback. situation. Is it Ritter? Is it somebody else? We'll see what happens there. But yeah, that's a good comment, Andrew. Good point. He's very capable of catching those screens. All right, we are almost an hour and a half into this show, man. This is incredible, guys. I appreciate the love and support here. I still got some viewers watching. Must be doing something right. So, again, the reason I got the green screen, the reason I turned the thing off is because it was slowing the computer down. So, yeah. Sean Spencer, great show, man. Appreciate it, Sean. Thank you very much. And yeah, me and you got to chop it up one time. Get you on one of these episodes. Right now, I am looking real quick. The Lakers are up 74-58 on Golden State. Come on, Lakers. Let's wrap this one up. I don't want to go back to Golden State on Sunday. And Facebook user Edgar says, Wirfs barely played left tackle at Iowa. It's a one-year tryout at his new position and Gudecki at his natural position back in college right tackle. If it works out, great. If not, Bucks will draft a left tackle in 2024. Yeah. Probably should have drafted one this year. Yeah, Wirfs can't play it though, Edgar, and that's what gives me a little hope. But you're right, I am a little nervous because I think he's a natural right tackle. And Gudecki going to the right tackle, that's his natural spot. But he's nowhere near Wirfs level. I don't think a lot of tackles are. So, but it's a good point. I mean, it's going to take time. This offensive line, if they're going to have this team's going to have any chance this year the Bucks, I should say, to do something, this offensive line has to stay healthy and they have to gel at the right time. It's going to take a few weeks, but they can do it. Let's see what happens. Sean says, I'm there. Tell me when. I will. I'll let you know, Sean. Definitely. And this would be Edgar again. 2024 offensive tackle draft class is way better. I agree. And yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to look there. We should anyway, because that's the position you want to have the most depth, is that tackles. Is that offensive line. Yeah, we've had too many receivers. Nothing wrong with that, but I'd rather have depth at the most important spots, the trenches, the defensive line, the offensive lines. That's where you want to have the most depth. And last year proved that you need that depth because we had the injuries. We had Jensen out. He got hurt in training camp. Ali Marpet retired. We forget about that. He actually retired. So Donovan Smith missed a couple of games. Again, you've got to have depth at those positions, or else you're not going to be a very good team. Hate to say it, but that's where you need the depth. And next year, the Bucks definitely do need to draft a left tackle and bolster that line. So, yeah, absolutely, Edgar. Well, guys, I am going to take off here. I hate to do it because we still got some viewers, but I'm getting a little tired. This water's almost empty. And I do want a beer. So, guys, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. This is a lot of fun. The schedule release for all the primetime games. I just want to remind everybody that tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Pacific time, here on the Ben Zone on YouTube, my YouTube channel as well. Right here. There it is. Let's Buck with Ben. This will be episode 2. Right there, as you can see. You get the buck with me tomorrow. A lot of people buck with me, and a lot of people, I could say it, fuck with me too. So I enjoy it. So yeah, tomorrow we're going to have episode 2. Give you the Antoine Winfield right there. We're going to talk about the Bucks schedule release, go over all the games. We got 2 primetime games, which is cool. We're also going to talk about the quarterback situation and some other stuff about the Bucs. This show right here, Let's Buck with Ben, is exclusively a Tampa Bay Buccaneers show. So it is all Bucs. That's all we talk about here. And as you know, it is a seasonal show. Right now we're going to do episodes here and there, but once we get to around training camp and the preseason, it'll be a weekly show. So that's why I call it a seasonal show. Once we get the football season, it'll be on every week. We'll recap the games. We'll most likely do shows after the game is over. The Bucs game gets finished. We'll do a post-game show. We'll have a show during the week. Other stuff in the off season, we'll have shows, sporadically, here and there, like free agency, the draft, schedule release, stuff like that. So this will be episode 2 tomorrow, guys. Hopefully you guys can join me on this show, and it'll be on my handles right there: Facebook Ben Zone, my YouTube channel Ben Cornet 9015, and on Twitter if you have a Twitter, BennyBoy702. Watch it there. And more importantly than that, guys, like we do with all my shows, please like and share the show. That helps my all my social media platforms to grow. Again, I do this for fun. Hopefully one day it'll turn into something bigger. That's what I'm hoping for. But right now this journey's just getting started. So I'm gonna have some good weeks, some bad weeks, but that's okay. We learn, we get better, and I'm always welcome to share everyone's shows on the Ben Zone because we help out each other, grow this community, make this community bigger and stronger. And like and share, please. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dogs, tell your cats. They watch social media. So I am an animal lover too. So, all right, guys, listen, I'm going to get going. I'm going to get out of here. This has been a very, very fun night. And I will be here tomorrow for Let's Buck with Ben, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And also this Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. My other show, let me put that up there. That baby up there, yes, Face the Heels. If you're new to this Ben Zone, we do a pro wrestling show every Monday nights. This week I should have Nick Rosario, my co-host, come on if he's available. So last week I had to fly solo because he was working. So, but hopefully this week we can get him in there and talk wrestling like we always do, chop it up there. So, all right, everybody. Thank you again very much. My name is Ben Cornet, and I will see you next week for episode 22 of Have At It, right here on the Ben Zone, right up there on Ben Cornet 9015 on my YouTube channel and BennyBoy702 on my Twitter handle. So check me out there and like and share those things. And Sean says, "Oh, I'll be there for that." Yeah, you better be. We'll see. You better bring it, Sean. You better step up to the plate. Come on, man. Where you at? Great. Good stuff, guys. Guys, take care. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. And Sean, you do want all the smoke. You better want it, man. I better see you there on Monday night. So, all right, guys, have a good night, and I will see you next week. Take care.